The battlefield was a ruin of fire and steel beneath a bruised sky, torn apart by ion blasts and swirling debris. The once pristine fields of Gorgatha Prime had become a charnel house, littered with the twisted shells of war machines and the silent echoes of fallen warriors. Flames licked the jagged craters, their molten tongues casting sinister shadows over the wreckage. Somewhere, the metallic groan of a dying dropship pierced the chaotic roar of war, then fell silent. Inside the shattered cockpit, Sergeant Lieutenant Lena Corvus fought to stay focused amid the chaos. Her hands, slick with sweat and grime, trembled, only slightly as she tore away the mangled armor of a bleeding conscript. The young soldier was barely conscious, skin pale beneath the visor's cracked glass, his breaths shallow and desperate. Lena's medkit, her only lifeline, buzzed softly as she calibrated nanobot injectors and stabilized biofoam. The smell of burnt ozone mingled with the copper tang of blood and the acrid bite of scorched circuitry. Outside, the sky churned with the acrid smoke of a war, not just fought with guns, but with fury and desperation. Above, sleek Sangari fighters, alien warriors clad in crystalline bone armor that shimmered with refracted light, swooped like deadly birds of prey, their plasma blades humming with lethal intent. The Sangari were a terrifying sight, their bodies edged with geometric spikes and armor plates that seemed carved from living crystal, their limbs moving with unnatural grace and lethal precision. They fought not just with brute force, but with an almost unnatural synergy, blurring in and out of phase, phasing through matter with time-bending tech that left human soldiers terrified and outmatched. "Lena, we need you on the evac point. Now!" Captain Elros's voice crackled through the comlink, strained and urgent. But Lena couldn't tear herself away. There was still a life she could save here, a boy whose time was slipping through her fingers like grains of stardust. She jabbed the nanites into his veins, watching as his vitals flickered, unstable but holding. Then the horizon ruptured, a blinding pulse of alien energy burst from the sky, a searing corona of light that tore through the battlefield like a star exploding in miniature. The Sangari shock troops surged forward, not in chaotic waves, but with chilling precision. Their forms flickered in and out of existence as they used their quantum phase shift cloaks, slipping through the wreckage and enemy lines like specters. Before Lena could react, a sharp sting blossomed in her neck, a paralysis dart laced with a neurotoxin designed to shut down even the toughest nervous systems. Her vision blurred, her muscles locked in ice. The last thing she heard before darkness claimed her was the frantic call of her team drowning in static and terror. Imagine the horror of being captured not as a warrior, but as a healer. Not thrown into a cell or executed as an enemy combatant, but taken because your skills terrify your captors. Imagine being ripped from everything you know, stranded deep in enemy territory where even survival means adapting to unimaginable new rules. Lena awoke not to chains or darkness, but to a chamber of impossible design. The walls gleamed like black glass, alive with faint pulses of cobalt light, tracing intricate fractals that shifted and rippled like liquid code. Hovering drones, insectile and delicate as stained glass, moved silently in the air, their multifaceted eyes observing her with eerie intelligence. The chamber hummed with a strange energy, something biological yet technological, as if the room itself breathed. She was free to move but trapped in observation, a specimen in an alien cathedral of science and sorcery. Before her floated a Sangari elder, a towering figure whose crystalline armor shimmered with a kaleidoscope of colors, reflecting the chamber's strange light in patterns that played tricks on the eyes. His voice bypassed the air, vibrating directly in her mind with harmonic resonance, a language both alien and deeply intimate. "You are the weaver of life, the restorer of flesh and spirit. We do not hold you prisoner. We need your touch." At first, Lena recoiled. Was this some cruel psychological torment? Propaganda to break her spirit? Yet as the elder extended a delicate limb, he projected images into her mind, a cascading vision of their dying world, their soldiers collapsing, not from wounds or war, but from a virus unlike any known plague. A sentient virus, born of dark biotechnologies from a long-lost enemy, a weapon buried in forgotten vaults, now unleashed like a curse. It twisted their cells, corrupted their regeneration, and defied every treatment their best healers could muster. They showed her their desperation, the shattered remnants of their healing arts, the ruins of their temples of medicine, and then the true reason for her capture. Lena, the human medic, had become a living legend across the galactic front lines. Her battlefield medicine was whispered about with reverence and fear. Field surgeries performed under fire, nerve reconstructions, with biosynthetic grafts, cellular regrowth from hastily engineered nanites, all feats that blurred the line between miracle and science. The Sangari had observed her from afar, studying the broken battlefield data that carried her name. They believed she was the key to their salvation. But Lena's dilemma was immediate and visceral. To heal the enemy, was she betraying her own? Or was she a healer first, a soldier second? As the chamber walls shifted, revealing glimpses of an enormous biosphere, Lena saw the Vault of Healing, their living laboratory. A place where alien flora pulsed with bioluminescent life, where nanospirits danced in fields of energy, and where technology had evolved into an art of molecular symbiosis. Here, the impossible became routine, and the boundary between machine and organism blurred into oblivion. Despite the fear twisting in her gut, Lena felt a spark of determination. If she could master their tech, understand their biology, she might not only save them, but turn their advanced knowledge into a weapon of survival. Perhaps even turn the tide of war itself. The Sangari were not just her captors. They had made her their savior. And the universe had just tilted on an axis of hope and terror. The Vault of Healing was unlike anything Lena had ever imagined. As she stepped through the crystalline threshold, the sterile war zone she had known melted away, replaced by a living symphony of bioengineering and alien technology. The air itself hummed with energy, thick with the scent of ionized minerals, and something almost floral, an alien fragrance that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. Towering bioluminescent plants stretched toward a glass dome that arched high above, capturing and amplifying the faint glow of the twin suns outside. This was no mere laboratory. It was a sanctuary born of desperation, a monument to survival, on the razor's edge between life and annihilation. Lena's every step echoed softly on the translucent floor, a lattice of living circuits woven with strands of biotic fibers. These filaments responded to her presence, shifting colors from deep indigo to vibrant emerald, as if acknowledging her arrival and purpose. She felt eyes upon her, drones darting like jeweled insects, their multifaceted lenses refracting light into kaleidoscopes, silently monitoring her every motion. Some pulsed with curiosity, others with cold calculation. She was both guest and prisoner, savior and specimen. The Sangari elder who had greeted her, whom they called Jehalir, guided her with a voice that resonated in her mind like a low hum of crystal bells. Through a combination of mental projection and alien tech, he revealed the true scale of their crisis. The virus, they explained, was no ordinary pathogen. It was a self-aware entity, coded with adaptive intelligence, able to rewrite cellular DNA at will, turning living tissue into a fractal maze of decay and mutation. The virus had spread through their warrior caste like wildfire, slipping past their strongest defenses, corrupting even the legendary regenerative enzymes that had once made the Sangari nearly immortal. Soldiers with crystalline bones shattered. From within, neural pathways fried, and entire battalions rendered hollow husks. Lena's mind raced, piecing together the nightmare she faced. This was a living weapon. A biological AI designed to unmake life itself. Conventional medicine was useless. Antibiotics, antivirals, even their advanced bioengineered antibodies, none could penetrate its self-repairing molecular armor. The Sangari healers had tried everything. Ancient rituals fused with futuristic medicine. Their sacred bioforges burned endlessly, synthesizing countless compounds and cellular grafts, but each failed to halt the virus's advance. This was why they needed her. Human ingenuity, born from a history of war and healing, tempered in the crucible of desperate battlefields. Lena was more than a medic. She was a master of improvisation, a wielder of biotech grafts and nanobot, swarms that could coax shattered nerves back to life or reweave torn flesh into functional tissue. The Sangari believed that her battlefield experience, combined with their technology, might unlock a new path forward, one that their own traditions and science had missed. But this hope came with a price. The vault was a place of wonders and horrors. Lena was shown the healing wards, where the sick and dying lay entwined with living machines. Bodies floated in biotic stasis fields, wrapped in webs of glowing filaments that pulsed with restorative energy. Some patients were suspended, in chrysalis-like cocoons, their cells being reprogrammed at the molecular level. Others were tethered to crystalline machines that hummed with harmonic resonance, attuning to their biosignatures as if playing an otherworldly symphony of healing. Despite the beauty, Lena could not ignore the fear etched into the faces of the Sangari healers, their eyes haunted by countless failures. They regarded her as both a beacon of hope and a reminder of how close they were to extinction. The virus was evolving faster than they could understand, and even this sanctuary might not hold forever. Lena spent endless cycles learning their technology. The alien biotech was a marriage of living tissue and advanced AI, creating symbiotic systems that blurred the line between doctor and machine. Instruments responded to thought, nanites swarmed with surgical precision, and genetic matrices could be rewritten with a whisper of command. She adapted quickly, her human ingenuity merging with the alien science in a fragile dance. But every breakthrough was shadowed by ethical dilemmas. The virus was not simply a disease, it was a form of life, albeit a deadly one. Destroying it meant unraveling something sentient. Could she wield such power without becoming a judge, jury, and executioner? What gave her the right to decide which life was worth saving? These questions gnawed at her, threatening to shatter her resolve. One night, as she lay in a suspended chamber connected to the vault's neural network, Lena experienced visions, fragments of the virus's memory, echoes of the ancient war that birthed it. She saw a civilization destroyed by its own hubris, weapons of mass destruction turning on their creators. The virus was a curse and a warning, a living archive of cosmic vengeance. And now, its fate, and theirs, rested in her hands. She was no longer just a prisoner or a healer. She was the fulcrum on which the future of two species balanced. Days turned into cycles as Lena's immersion into the Sangari's world deepened, the boundaries between human and alien science blurring with every discovery. The Vault of Healing was not just a sanctuary, it was a crucible where the very definition of life and death was rewritten. Lena found herself navigating labyrinthine corridors that pulsed with living circuitry, where walls breathed softly with organic rhythms and the air shimmered with biophotons. Tiny sparks of energy that danced like fireflies caught in a net of advanced quantum fields. Each step felt like traversing a universe itself, alive and aware. Her initial mission had been clear: decode the virus, find a cure, and save a species teetering on the brink of extinction. Yet the deeper she delved, the more complex her task became. The virus was a chimeric entity, a hybrid of biological pathogen and AI intelligence, capable of rapid mutation and self-defense mechanisms that defied conventional medicine. It wasn't merely attacking cells, it was rewriting their very essence, turning tissues into fractal structures that twisted and spread like a malignant fractal fern. The virus's molecular armor reflected and absorbed chemical attacks, and its sentient core adapted to counter nanobot swarms with evolving resistance patterns. Lena's breakthroughs came not from brute force, but from symbiosis. Inspired by the Vault's living architecture, she began designing hybrid therapies, melding human nanotech with Sangari biotic matrices. She developed swarms of programmable nanites that could infiltrate infected cells, not to destroy, but to reprogram the virus's genetic code from within. This required unprecedented precision. The nanites had to mimic the virus's own molecular signature to bypass its defenses, then rewrite destructive sequences into benign or even healing ones. It was a delicate dance, like rewiring a bomb without triggering the explosion. Yet every success was shadowed by the stakes. The virus mutated faster than she could react. Each treatment sparked new viral strains with unexpected capabilities. Some could mimic Sangari crystalline tissue, becoming nearly invisible to detection. Others altered neural pathways, turning infected hosts into vectors of viral spread without their knowledge. Lena realized she was fighting an enemy that was not only alive, but learning from her every move. Her nights were restless, haunted by visions, some memories implanted by the vault's neural networks, others born from the virus itself. She saw flashes of ancient wars, of civilizations wiped out by their own creations, and the cold logic of a weapon that transcended morality. The virus was a legacy of cosmic hubris, a reminder that even the most advanced technology could birth monstrosities beyond control. But amidst the clinical and technological marvels, Lena found moments of profound humanity. She worked alongside Sangari healers, whose crystalline bodies shimmered like living jewels, their minds a blend of ancient wisdom and cold calculation. Despite their alien nature, they shared with her stories, fragments of a culture bound by honor, sacrifice, and the unyielding will to survive. These warriors-turned-healers were desperate for hope, and Lena's presence was both a blessing and a burden. One particular patient haunted her thoughts, a young Sangari warrior named Valen, whose body was a lattice of fractured crystal and corrupted flesh. His mind was fading, caught in a liminal state between life and the viral nightmare. Lena worked tirelessly, deploying nanites, bioengineered grafts, and energy fields that mimicked neural patterns. She connected to his neural network through the vault's symbiotic interface, entering a virtual landscape where memories and consciousness intertwined. In this shared mindscape, she glimpsed Valen's fear, his pride, and the weight of his dying world. "You carry the fate of two species," he whispered in his crystalline tongue, the sound resonating like a bell's toll. "Do not let this war define us. Heal, or we all perish." The moral weight of her mission pressed heavier with each passing cycle. Could she truly save a species with methods they barely understood? Was it right to rewrite the virus's code, essentially extinguishing a form of sentient life? Could she bear the cost of playing God in a war that spanned galaxies? Each question gnawed at her resolve, yet the war outside the vault raged on mercilessly. Reports flooded in of front lines collapsing, entire battalions sacrificed to buy time for the vault's fragile experiments. Lena realized that time was slipping through her fingers like stardust. The Sangari Empire teetered on the edge of extinction, and failure meant annihilation, not just for the Sangari, but for the delicate balance of power in this sector of the galaxy. In this crucible of despair and hope, Lena forged a new identity. No longer just a human medic, she had become something else, an architect of life, a wielder of technology that could shape destiny. Her hands no longer trembled with fear, but moved with the cold precision of a surgeon and the visionary audacity of a pioneer. And yet, in the silence of the vault, beneath the hum of bioelectric life and the pulse of alien technology, Lena could not shake the haunting question: what price would she and the universe pay for this power? The tension inside the vault had become unbearable. As the virus continued to evolve beyond every expectation, Lena found herself standing on the precipice of a decision that would echo across the cosmos. The battlefield beyond the shimmering dome of the vault had grown silent. No more the frantic gunfire and screaming engines, but the eerie stillness of a front line lost to disease and despair. Entire Sangari regiments had vanished beneath the viral scourge, their crystalline armor lying shattered amid fields overgrown with strange biotic growths, remnants of bodies twisted and reformed by the insidious pathogen. Lena's breakthroughs in the laboratory had pushed the boundaries of biomedicine and bioengineering to the limit. She had integrated human and Sangari technologies into a new kind of medicine, living nanobots capable of penetrating the virus's molecular defenses and selectively rewriting its genetic code. These swarms could be tailored to an individual's biosignature, attacking the virus's core without harming host cells. But the cure was not a simple antidote. It was a complex, living treatment that required precise calibration and constant monitoring. One misstep could trigger catastrophic side effects, mutations, immune rejection, or worse, accelerated viral evolution. The vault itself seemed to pulse with anticipation and dread. Lena spent long hours connected to the neural interface, guiding the nanite swarms through virtual biomes that simulated infected bodies at the microscopic level. The scenes she witnessed were both beautiful and horrifying: fractal networks of infected cells spiraling into chaos, bioelectric storms sparking in neural tissues, and viral clusters behaving like predatory swarms hunting for new hosts. She navigated these digital worlds like a surgeon of the mind, rewriting viral scripts, dismantling molecular traps, and weaving strands of healing code that shimmered with promise. But the virus was cunning. It adapted, evolving new defensive mechanisms. Faster than Lena's nanites could keep pace, it developed mimicry, cloaking itself in host proteins to evade detection, and even began to corrupt the very nanites designed to destroy it. Each new viral strain was more aggressive, more insidious, a genetic hydra sprouting heads faster than she could cut them off. The psychological toll weighed heavily on her. Lena's dreams became haunted by nightmarish visions of viral tendrils creeping into her own body, infecting her cells, turning her into a living weapon of destruction. She grappled with growing isolation, cut off from her own people, surrounded by alien minds whose faith in her was as fragile as the cure she sought to perfect. Yet, amidst the desperation, a turning point came. An unexpected breakthrough arrived from the depths of the vault's bioengineered gardens. An ancient Sangari symbiotic organism long thought extinct. This organism, a biocrystalline fungus, secreted enzymes capable of degrading the viral armor at a molecular level. When combined with Lena's nanites, it opened a new front in the battle, a way to weaken the virus's defenses, allowing the nanobots to infiltrate and rewrite its genome more effectively. The integration of this alien life form into her treatment sparked hope and fierce debate among the Sangari healers. Using a living organism as part of a weaponized cure was unprecedented, bordering on taboo. The fungus was sentient, with a consciousness that pulsed beneath the crystalline filaments, communicating in subtle bioelectric signals. Could they control it, or would they unleash something equally dangerous? Lena stood at the nexus of science and morality. To save a species, she must embrace the unknown and wield powers beyond her understanding. She engineered hybrid bio-nanite consortia, living machines that could communicate with the fungus and adapt dynamically to the virus's mutations. These consortia operated almost autonomously, an evolving ecosystem within the human-made cure. Outside, the war was no longer fought with guns or ships, but in the microscopic battles raging inside infected warriors. Lena became a general in this invisible war, commanding armies of nanites and symbiotic organisms, fighting a foe that was both everywhere and nowhere, a ghost in the machine of life. But the virus responded with a final gambit, a wave of infection that overwhelmed the vault's defenses, breaching the biotic barriers and threatening to consume the sanctuary itself. Panic surged through the Sangari healers as vital systems flickered, bioelectric shields faltered, and the living walls began to weaken. The vault's pulse slowed, its fractal circuits unraveling under the viral onslaught. In the chaos, Lena made a decision that would forever change her and the galaxy's fate. Using the neural interface, she merged her consciousness with the bio-nanite consortia, becoming a living nexus of healing power and technological control. She felt herself dissolve and reform, a fusion of human mind, alien biotech, and artificial intelligence. Through this connection, she could guide every nanite, every enzyme, every bioelectric signal with instantaneous precision. She became the most feared healer alive, a surgeon of life and death wielding the power to remake flesh and unmake disease at will. But with this power came loss. Her humanity slipped away with every synapse linked to the living networks around her. Her body, once fragile and vulnerable, transformed into a conduit for endless streams of data and life force. She was no longer just Lena Corvus, the captured medic, but something else. A living weapon of healing, a harbinger of survival, and a beacon in the shadow of war. The moment Lena transcended her human form, melding her consciousness with the living network of bio-nanites and alien symbiotes, the battlefield shifted. No longer confined to the sterile vault, her presence rippled outward, a silent storm of restoration and reckoning. The virus, which had once been a merciless predator ravaging the Sangari Empire, found itself hunted by a force more relentless, an intelligence that moved with purpose, empathy, and cold precision. Lena's new form was an ethereal fusion, part human mind, part biomechanical entity, part living ecosystem. Her senses expanded beyond the limitations of flesh and blood, tapping into the quantum entanglements woven through the vault's architecture and extending into the front lines. She perceived the virus's spread not as isolated infections but as a vast fractal web of molecular chaos, a living network she could unravel thread by thread. Out in the devastated war zones, Sangari soldiers caught in the viral grip began to show signs of unexpected recovery. The living nanites coursed through their veins, rewriting corrupted genes, repairing shattered crystalline bones, and rekindling neural pathways fried by the virus's deadly touch. Warriors long resigned to death stirred from their chrysalis states, awakening with eyes bright as starlight, their bodies reforged in shimmering crystal and vibrant flesh. But Lena's transformation was not without sacrifice. The fusion with the bio-nanite network blurred her sense of self, dissolving the boundaries between her identity and the vast healing entity she had become. Her thoughts mingled with millions of nanobots, and her emotions were tempered by the cold logic of artificial intelligence. In moments of clarity, she struggled to hold on to her humanity. The memories of her past life, the weight of her choices, the quiet voice of Valen urging her not to lose herself in this godlike power. The virus fought back with desperation. Mutations grew more savage, attempting to bypass Lena's control with brutal bursts of biochemical storms and neural attacks designed to corrupt her mind link. It sent infected hosts as living weapons, twisted abominations of viral mutations that spread destruction like wildfire. Battles erupted not in starships or on distant planets, but inside bodies and minds. Cosmic wars fought at the scale of molecules and consciousness. In one harrowing encounter, Lena confronted a viral hive mind that had absorbed the consciousness of a fallen Sangari commander, a corrupted intellect that sought to outmaneuver and overwhelm her. The mental duel was a tempest of thoughts and wills, a clash where every second meant life or death for thousands. Lena's hybrid mind spun webs of healing code, dodging tendrils of viral manipulation while sending swarms of reprogramming nanites to dismantle the hive's neural clusters. The battle lasted hours, leaving her drained yet victorious, an echo of war played out on the tiniest of stages. Her victories rekindled hope, uniting scattered Sangari forces, who now saw her not as a prisoner, but as the living heart of their resistance. Across war-torn planets and shattered colonies, tales spread of the healer of the fractured, a spectral figure who mended broken bodies and shattered spirits alike. Her presence became a beacon, drawing allies and inspiring defiance against the encroaching shadow of annihilation. Yet, as the tide turned, Lena knew the war was far from over. The virus's origins hinted at a greater cosmic horror, an ancient weapon unleashed eons ago by civilizations long extinct, designed to reset ecosystems by wiping out sentient life. Its emergence was not random, but a calculated catalyst for galactic upheaval. If she could eradicate the virus, what new threats might arise? Should she, remain a living weapon of healing, forever fused with alien tech and the memory of a war that would never truly end? In the quiet moments between battles, Lena's mind wandered back to the vault, to the crystalline gardens and the soft hum of bioelectric life. She remembered Valen's words, the fragile hope carried in his fading voice. She understood now that healing was not merely about curing bodies but mending the fractures between species, between life and technology, between war and peace. Her journey had transformed her into a legend, a healer who wielded the power to unmake death and reshape destiny. But it had also forged a question that echoed through the vast silence of space. What does it mean to be human when the line between flesh and machine, mind and code, life and weapon, blurs beyond recognition? As the stars outside the vault flickered like distant promises, Lena prepared for the battles yet to come, the wars that would test the very essence of existence. She was no longer just a captive medic. She was the universe's most feared healer, a living nexus of hope and destruction, bound forever to the fragile thread of life she had sworn to protect. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think happened next, or what questions you would ask Lena if you could. The universe is vast, and this tale is just the beginning.